Resurgent India Knowledge Series presents Virtual Session on Expanding Opportunities for Women Entrepreneurs. Moderator Ms. Sonal Mahta, Senior Vice President, Resurgent India Limited. Eminent speakers Ms. Sheetal Bhilkar, Founder Director, UBSC, The Real Women. Ms. Mugdha Pradhan, CEO Founder, I Thrive. Ms. Neena Lekhi, MD Chief Design Curator, Baggit.
कुछ पाने की हो आस आस, कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास आशाएं, हर कोशिश में हो बार बार, करे दरियाओं को आर पार आशाएं, तूफानों को चीर के मंजिलों को छीन ले, आशाएं ले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की, अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी।
Hi, good evening, everyone. I think, a very motivational song which we have started with for three of my eminent speakers. So, when we're talking about my speakers, they are all founders of very well established companies today, and all three of them are coming in from a diversified portfolio. So, today's session is going to be a very interesting session where about the challenges they have faced through in scaling up the startup, being a woman founder, what are the various challenges, the approaches they have taken for the growth in the sectors where they are working, the government initiatives and policies which are there in the sector, and outreach program and the support initiatives that probably these people have been working on. So with this, I would like to start this session by introducing my three eminent speakers, and I would frankly speak about, the introduction that I'm taking on right now includes also the fun side of them. So probably, some things that probably most of you don't know about them. So I wanted to keep the introduction little more fun side where we can touch on their fun side also to give you an idea that women founders can have their own hobbies, can have their own interests, and they can take care of their businesses as well. So to begin with, I would like to start with Ms. Neena Lekhi. So Ms. Neena Lekhi, when you're talking about, is a dynamic entrepreneur known for her innovation spirit and zest for life. As a founder and a CEO of Baggit, she has revolutionized the landscape of sustainable fashion, blending Indian craftsmanship with contemporary designs. Her commitment to ethical practices and empowering local artisans has earned her numerous accolades in the business world. When she's not leading her company in her new heights, Neena is an avid traveler and a passionate scuba diver. Her adventure has taken her to farthest corners of the globe. She has a particular fondness for exploring under really amazing, where she finds inspiration and tranquility in equal measures. Neena is fun and quirky personality, shines through in everything she knows. I can vouch on that because I have interacted with Neena a couple of times in the past also. And her one-liners are sometimes, very pleasing. Known for her infectious laugh and unbridled enthusiasm, she brings a sense of joy and creativity to her world and travels. Whether she's pitching to investors or diving with Mantra Race, Nina Lekis embodies a spirit of adventure and innovation that inspires those around her. Welcome, Nina, and thank you so much for joining us. My next speaker is Mugdha Pradhan. She is the CEO and founder of iThrive, the world's first integrated wellness platform. Is a two-time TEDx speaker and has been invited on coveted stages to deliver talks and insights out of her leading publications. With an MSc in nutrition and having studied human resource management at XLRI Jamshedpur, she has built a rich and diverse experience over the last 22 years, just limited to nutrition, health, wellness, but also in leadership positions in the corporate world. Her vision is to evolve into her highest spiritualized self while integrating her energy into the material world in absolute surrender to the divine. And in doing so, help iThrive fulfill her vision of healing the world. I think, such a wonderful thought, Mugdha, and I think that's a need of the hour. When you're talking about whatever people have been going through mental depression, stress, and hormonal imbalances. So, if there is something, which probably you can find help solution to that, that's actually a very wonderful initiative that you guys are working on. Thank you for joining in. So my last speaker here is Sheetal Bhilkar. So she is again in the intrinsic world of construction. Sheetal Bhilkar shines as a beacon of inspiration, leading groundbreaking projects totaling over 100 million square feet. At her engineering firm UBSC, she has not only transformed skylines but also uplifted 156 women through her brainchild, the Real Woman Awards, shaping a more inclusive future for the male-dominated construction industry. Yes, I think I really vouch for this because generally construction as a sector was more known for men. So, but women like Sheetal coming in, I think, they are trying to prove here that women also can get into construction and make marks for themselves. And she's also the founder and a president of Real Women Global Community. She's the VP for Mahi East, right? Yeah. She's the VP for Naredco Mahi East region. So Naredco Mahi is again a women platform where we have all the women who are connected with real estate. So there is a team of almost around 70 members right now. And Sheetal here heads East for us. And apart from that, her hobbies are painting and traveling. And many people don't know about it. She was Mrs. India Talented and second runner-up 2013. And she did a speed painting in her talent route, which got her the crown. Wow, super, very nice and very impressive. She started her entrepreneur journey. People generally say, कि बचपन से आपके talent का पता लग जाता है. So imagine she started her entrepreneur journey as a teenager by selling self-made rakis to neighbors. So charity begins from there. So few of her recent achievements that we talk about is Women Icon of the Year Award issued by Bombay Industrial Association and honorary award issued by the Smart Building Summit. Thank you so much, Sheetal, and thank you to three of you for joining in here. And we would like to start the session where we will be first taking questions one by one with each of you. So I would like to start with Nina first. So Nina, you recently opened your 100th store. Now, what has the journey been like for you from 1 to 100, especially given the societal and the gender biases that women entrepreneurs are subjected to? Nina there, I think she's logged out by mistake. Ayush, can you check with her? Okay, meanwhile, I can go to Mugdha till the time Nina joins back again. Mugdha, you were recently honored with the Women Power and Health Tech Award. Could you share your journey with us, particularly the challenges you faced in securing financing?
Sure, Sonal, and thank you for such a lovely intro. And thank you for understanding like the vision itself that I'm here with. So that
Absolutely.
Women Power and Health Tech Award, I mean, it came out of the blue and I was pleasantly surprised. But specifically answering your question around financing, now I come from a non-entrepreneurial family. No one in my family has ever even like tried true business. Everyone, like my grandfather worked in the same organization for 40 years until he retired. Dad, uncles maybe switched 2 or 3 jobs, but everyone was always, very job oriented. And uh, when I decided to start something like this in 2017, like 2019, when I was a solopreneur, I didn't know what I was doing. I just basically was responding to the world's needs. People were saying, oh, someone please help me with my health. And here I was with the knowledge and the skills, and I was doing that. Um, the fact that I'm an entrepreneur dawned on me in 2019 when my first investor, who became the first investor, he was a client at first, and then when we were
Okay.
doing work with his health, he says like, what is it that you want to do? One of our review calls, and I just said, well, I don't know. I just want to heal the world, starting with at least 1 million people. And then he was like, do you realize you can't do that on your own? And I was like, yeah, but who's in a hurry? Like, it's over, like marriage is over, everything else is done. So I'm here with just this one thing to do. And he was the first one who said that, okay, if you're interested in scaling this and building this and going beyond just being like this one person wandering around India and everywhere else, if you want to do this properly, I can come on board as an investor. And
Wow.
like I wasn't even looking. So a lot of times people ask me this, like it's a very unique business model. It's very service oriented. How did you get your funding for it? And it literally came from like samne se. Someone's asking me that I'm open to investing if you
That's
choose to make this a
fantastic.
company.
Because most of the startup founders face that as a challenge.
Yeah,
कि idea होता है, but पैसा नहीं होता है. But here it was ulta. I think we had an
ulta.
investor
So
and we were
उनका
trying to
एक
build
ही
that.
एक ही condition था कि you'll stop wandering around like a nomad and you'll find a place from where you'll set up an office and build it from there. So that's when I first realized, oh, I think I'm like a startup founder and an entrepreneur. So the first round of financing came very easy, though in retrospect, I mean, I love my first investor for showing that belief in me and, getting this thing going.
Very important.
I don't think I had the right negotiation skills. I don't think I understood how much equity to give away and how much to keep. Because there was no training on that. There was no orientation. Somebody was like, just here, I'll put in 100K and this is what I want in exchange. And I was like, okay, like here's money to build a company. Now, when I speak to other like tech founders and a lot of them, and they're like, don't you think you diluted too early? So that knowledge was missing because I didn't have anyone to train me about it. And even when we raised the second round of funding, by then I had a team. So I had Avinash who had come on board as a co-founder, and then he kind of takes care of operations. So little bit smarter I'd become in terms of receiving funding versus how much equity to give away. So the
Dilute,
second round was,
valuation.
there was a little more
Yeah.
negotiation there, and that took a little longer. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm willing to put in money. All that you have to do is just like stop wandering around and let's create a company. So the first 2 rounds were relatively easy. And then in 2022, when we started thinking of the third round, which would have been a larger number, it was also when funding winter had kind of set in India. It was a really hard time for a lot of startups and founders.
Right.
And then the difficulty in terms of how much equity to kind of, because already initially it seemed like it had been diluted, now it's been corrected. And then like this question started coming in, but like you don't have an app yet, or it seems like this is not a serviceable market, and there are so all of
The
those
tech is
questions
not
were-
involved.
Yeah, so those kind of questions started coming in, and so along with the funding winter, a lot of disbelief in the company's ability to sustain and grow itself came in 2022 from the outside world. I have never had doubts about iThrive's capacity to grow. So there it became difficult to the point of people telling me, so we have 3 revenue generating verticals, for example, and then I would have these investors whom we'd be pitching to saying that, oh, but you spread yourself too thin. This entire thing is going to collapse and burn because you have 3 verticals and you're never going to be able to do it. So those were the difficulties truly in securing finance where, you know, it felt, and often I would feel that, like, not that I've experienced too much gender disparity. I really haven't. Like, I've been taken seriously for the work I do, but I sometimes feel that
Okay.
maybe there is a tendency to give unnecessary business advice because there's a woman sitting at the other end. So, and I'm just being like absolutely radically honest, right? So it's like, no one's asking for how to run this business. Do you find it viable? Invest in it and
Invest, otherwise don't.
And it's growing. I mean, it's grown year on year, 3x, 3x, 3x. It's grown year on year, right? So it's a high growth business. It's been showing consistent growth in numbers. In fact, unit economics wise, we are doing much better than some of the bigger valued companies. So,
Absolutely.
So when I started taking that stand in 2022 and 2023, that's when I experienced a certain degree of resistance from investors. So I decided to say that, okay, I know what this company is about. I know who are the kind of investors I want on board, the ones who believe in the vision, the ones who are willing to wait, not the ones who are looking for a quick exit. And it got a little difficult in 2023 because of that. But now we have a greater depth of clarity in terms of what we want as finance. And the focus has always been on being self-sustainable and, like, you know, making enough money ki naiya doob na jaye. And that has been going well.
That has been taken care. So I
Yeah.
think now it's a growth stage. No, absolutely wonderful. And the very impressive thing is that probably initial investor was there, so that gives some confidence to a startup founder कि हाँ चल जाएगा.
Correct.
And by the time you reach your second stage of funding, you're groomed enough. तो वो अपने आप थोड़ा सा समझ आ जाती है कि valuation करानी है, कितना dilution करना है. So you groom up well by that time. And I think you guys have been growing pretty well, and I think the new round of funding that you're looking at right now, I think that should be a good strategic move for you guys to move on. Great, wonderful. So welcome back, Meena. I thought you had got disconnected in between. So the question which I was trying to take up with you is, you recently opened a 100th store. Now, what has been the journey been like you from first store to the 100th store, especially given the societal and the gender biases that women entrepreneurs are subjected?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for this opportunity. And so I will start with when I was 17 when I started my business. I'm 47 now, 57 now actually. Yeah, 40 years. And I started by failing in college and starting my business because I was like, how can I be a failure? I'm not a duffer. And just wanting to prove to myself that it can't be, this can't have happened to me. And I really worked really hard, and I started with the basic things. I think all designers start with exhibitions, and then I got one store after another, chain of stores, Regal, etc. But it was only about, I think 12, 13 years later where I was going to have my first child, my only child, first child. And I remember, so that was a time when I had a program which my husband conducts, which is a business program. And, you write down all your visions and everything. And there somewhere it came out from me that, I wanted to have my own store and not be a karkhanedar, in my words. So, and I think the power of the program was so pushy that I went ahead and did it. How, even though logically that how can it happen? I'm a nuclear family. The closest store is Atria because I was staying at Shivaji Park there. And the actual store that I wanted to do was Malad, which with a nuclear family with a 1-year-old baby, you can't be traveling 1.5 hours one way. And you'll have multiple visits because it's your first store that I was doing.
And how big was the team when you started it?
When I started my store, we must be about 80 people or so. But when I started my business, obviously it is you are the only one, the jhadu wala, the accountant, delivery
Stuff, right.
boy. I remember I used to take these big sacks of bags that I used to go by bus and deliver the stuff, put it up in the store, do the hisab on a pauti, bring back what didn't sell, do the stuffing. You do everything at that time in the beginning yourself because there's only you and you.
Absolutely.
Right. And then I think when I opened my first store is where we realized that we became a brand, and that was a big, big, milestone for me. Even though I was losing money left, right, center in that first store because I knew that Atria wasn't feasible for me just because it was close to my house and I had a small kid. I had to choose that option. So that comes to that. The woman is always there to take care of the baby because obviously, that time you're feeding also it's just 1 year.
Expected, right.
And yeah, I think then from then on, the second and the third store came and we broke even, and then there's been no looking back. Like we're doing 60 more stores this year, and we've got the art and now the dynamics of how to make it work.
Fantastic. And you are bootstrapped.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is no equity investor till now. Fantastic. It's actually a fantastic journey.
Yeah,
So-
we are old school in that way of, the way earlier businesses used to start. And I think now it's a different thought and set, and that's also wonderful. Each to their own, actually.
Yeah, matlab, absolutely. Getting an investor is a different altogether. But running a company bootstrap for 40 years and reaching from 1 store to 100 store is commendable. Very fantastic. Thank you so much. I'll go back to Sheetal. So, Sheetal, here, being a woman in construction, what are specific challenges did you face as an entrepreneur? One, woman entrepreneur. Two, the sector you took up as a construction where it is a male dominated. So what are the various challenges that you face through?
Okay. Thank you, Sonal and Resurgent team for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on this platform along with all the eminent speakers. So I had a very humble beginning. I started as an electrical engineer. So I completed my electrical engineering and immediately started working as a trainee engineer. And but I always had an inspiration from my mom. She was doing her ready-made garment business, so I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I got one opportunity when I was on a maternity leave. I was handling my
Okay.
3-month-old baby. That time I got an opportunity from my husband's office itself. So it was a blood bank, and they wanted a consultant for that. And but that time I was scared because I was first time mother, and how do I take up that? But then my husband supported that time. He said, "You always wanted to do this." So I did my first job along with my friends and colleagues from my earlier offices, and somehow completed that job. And then there was no looking back. Today, if you ask me, we have designed more than 650 projects, more than 100 million
Wow.
square feet, and we are working all across India. Currently, we are doing around 30 million square feet, working with major developers like Lodha Developers, Mahindra Life Spaces, and we are doing IT parks, we are doing hotels, whatnot. And we are doing amazing work. And coming back to your question about the challenges, definitely construction is a male-dominated field altogether, and I started 3 decades back. So I always say,
Absolutely. That time it was a totally different. Abhi though still you have a lot of women who have come up in construction, but 30 years back when you're talking about, there were hardly any. And
true.
founder as a woman founder as a company which is into construction, I'm sure that's quite a lot of challenge.
Yeah, and when I started, it was very difficult for me because nobody was taking me seriously. I was going to the clients, and I was so young. I was around 26, 27 that time, and they were looking at me. Okay, she has started her consultancy because that time consultant in construction industry means gray hair, male
Huh.
with check shirts. That stereotype
True.
was there, and I was
Somebody
totally
with
different.
experience. Yeah.
Yes. And so I, started literally wearing saris and those glasses, and just for, people to take me seriously. And, this is how I started. Then actually, once your first client is very important, because that person trusts you. And then it is like with one good job, you keep on getting more and more jobs. This is what happened with me. So I always, have a lot of gratitude for my first client who
First,
trusted me.
first client, for my first client who took me
Yes.
seriously.
Me literally, I used to keep my daughter at home when my husband used to have weekly off on Sundays, and I used to go to sites, and that client used to accommodate that, site visits on Sundays. So this is how I started, and people have supported me, and I think, I like many people, not only first client during my journey, many people supported me.
Okay, wonderful.
But construction is not easy for women. I'll tell you why. Because you have to go to sites, and you have
Site,
to spend long hours. And for me, checking slabs at site was most difficult task.
hmm,
So that time, even safety measures were not that great. Now
absolutely.
we have a little better, but those
Now
time
we have
it
a lot of
was.
compliances which apply, so that's the reason, even the developers are very particular about things. But those days, I don't think anything was there. Compliance का कुछ भी ये लोग देखते होंगे उधर.
So I used to climb those 18-story buildings and go on those saliyas for slab checking. And, and you'll not believe that time I was having fear of heights. And even I tremble. Nobody was there to give
Yeah.
me a hand, because everybody was like feet away from me being a woman. So yeah, I had challenging times, but I think I continued, and here I am.
No, fantastic. I think, an amazing and a very, very motivational journey for all the women who are trying to get into real estate right now. I think, people like you who set right examples for them. Right. Thank you so much. Going back to Mugdha again, despite 63% of the women entrepreneurs having access to some form of mentorship, nearly 90% rely on relatives or friends for business advices. Understanding a lack, undercome scoring a lack of formal networking and skill enhancement opportunity. Trajectory, especially while figuring out ways to scale up startups. मतलब quite a natural scenario कि जब
Yeah,
आपके पास इतने सारे mentors available होते हैं, but you always go back to your inner circle, family, friends, probably who may, मतलब I'm not telling, the intent may be the best intent, but they may not be able to guide you like your mentors do. So, what do you think is a solution there which we can find out where the women can get more networking platforms?
yeah. So it's a really great question, and I can speak from my own experience also of why. So before we even get to the solution, na, Sonal, like I had to ask myself, what was this phenomena? What I've realized, like even from learning, like even the femininity and polarity itself, like what happens to us as women, we are at our creative best when we feel safe. We can't create,
True.
we can't
You
be
can take
truly
risks,
creative from a place of stress and tension. Now,
right?
whom do we feel safest with? It's our family, it's our friend,
Family.
like whoever supporting our dream. Not that everybody in your family, or not that all of your friends might say, "Oh, great idea, let's do this." But if you find even like two or three people in your small little network who are saying, like, this is really great, I'm here to talk about it, you feel safe enough to bring out maybe your worst fears or your insecurities or your challenges. You talk about it, and then you get some feedback from there. Most of it might be positive, and then we get stuck in that loop कि अच्छा, whenever I have this difficulty, I'm going to go call this person, talk to
To
them,
this person.
and कुछ तो मतलब some degree of sense of solution मिल जाएगा, and then I can do something. But when we get stuck in this loop, we miss out on the bigger picture. So in the last 1 year, in fact, I started working with a mentor who comes with immense B school experience. He's an IIT IIM person, worked with Anderson, Infosys, Coca-Cola, all of that. his ability to see through my bullshit sometimes is so immense, and the kind of inputs he has given has really altered how I might build this company up also. So it has changed my perspective, it has changed my approach to what I would think is the entrepreneurial journey and iThrive's growth also. Now, most women, we get scared because कोई कुछ बोल देगा कि see we बचपन से we've heard enough number of times कि ना हो पाएगा तुमसे, छोड़ दो, या फिर sacrifice or adjust. Most women have heard that enough number of times. So when we get a mentor who comes with a true interest in mentoring, which is then seeing where your faults might lie, seeing where there are flaws, see where there are gaps, see where there are blind spots, and then tell you that, like, fix these things so that you'll move into the next stratosphere of your growth. We really don't like that. we don't. So, but then we miss out on growth opportunities. So my general suggestion to any woman, even man, like any entrepreneur watching this, is actively seek out mentors. And the thing is, what kind of mentors might work for you, only you would truly know. Now, for me, it was really important to find a mentor who has a certain amount of spiritual inclination, because I didn't want to just go into this entire capitalist way of building a company that, growth at all costs.
Somebody, because you yourself a very spiritual person, so you obviously have to get in somebody who can match wavelength, understand the business that you have. So obviously.
So each founder is different. Now, for a founder, if it is like really you want to grow really quickly, you want to scale up really fast, then find a mentor who has shown expertise in that. But the job of finding a mentor is ours only. Like, we have to say
Have
that,
that
okay,
confidence.
I really think I don't know everything I would need to know. Therefore, I have to find people. Now, for women, there are different platforms that have come. I've not really used those platforms too much. I really used LinkedIn and like just listening to people's podcasts and listening to amazing people speak and say that, oh, I want advice from this person, I want advice from this person. And that's how I went about seeking mentors. So expand, learn about what's happening in the world. Some of the best authors are open to mentoring, and then find these people and then learn from them, because otherwise you are doing yourself and your business a big disservice.
Absolutely. No, perfectly said, and really agree to that. That probably I personally believe you are a set of people you're around with.
Yes.
So it depends on, the circle that you make out of your network. So you get to learn a lot of things from each other. So it's just that, sometimes you need an outsider to speak about things, to speak about your challenges, which your family is not able to support, because they would always have a little soft approach to things, saying कि क्यों करना है, ठीक तो चल रहा है, why do you want to explore this, नौकरी कर रहे हो चलो करते रहो, ठीक है तनख्वाह तो आ रही है, एंटरप्रेन्योर क्यों ट्राई करना है, नहीं चला तो, और ऊपर से फैमिली है, your family is going to get hampered once you get into an entrepreneur tag. So all these are a lot of soft things, which your family out of concern comes back to you. But when you have a mentor, who understands your wavelength, understands your thought process, you have a network of positive people who are professionals around you, I think that's what takes you to the next league altogether. And I also personally feel it's very important for women to have that professional network around them.
Very.
Somebody who's able to push them for the next steps. कई बार आप खुद नहीं लेते हो स्टेप, आपको धक्का मारना पड़ता है वो करने के लिए.
Fear, and there's this like entire comfort zone thing. You're feeling very safe in your comfort zone, but that comfort zone is what is stopping you from growth. Like, no growth happens in the comfort zone.
Absolutely.
So then, like, a good mentor will tell you that, oh, look, this is where you're stuck and you need to come out now, and that's why you need mentors.
100% agreed. Right. Thank you so much, Mugdha. I will go back to Neena here. In your opinion, what is the single most important barrier that, if overcome, would significantly help level up the playing field for women entrepreneurs? Neena is, I think she has some network issues. Ayush, can you just check with her?
No, she's there.
Yeah.
Is there?
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Sorry,
Hi.
मेरे को दिख नहीं रहा था. Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Yeah, so I personally feel that in the metros, I think we are very lucky, especially if you are from
Absolutely.
well-to-do families. They have no problems with, treating you equally. Your husband and the wife, like, your mother-in-law would treat both of them equally and allow us the freedom. But I think
Hmm.
it is true, and we are a privileged lot that, we come from these kind of wonderful in-laws, and, it's still like with a gratitude that they are allowing us, because actually sabka hak banta hai to live their dreams. But yeah, I think in rural India or in maybe smaller towns, uh, the woman may not be given so much freedom, and
Okay. Hmm.
even therefore in the society it would be as looking, why does she need to go out, all those kind of june zamane ki cheeze. But I think today in the cities, I think it's a sense of not a privilege but a sense of equal, where you're allowed to live your dreams. You may be very, very wealthy, but you're still out there doing what you wish for, your creativity and your fulfillment, I think.
Wonderful.
I know
So
it's not the typical answer that you're looking for, but that's what I experience in my life and people around me. But I know in rural areas it's really different, and they are like, yeah.
ultimately, yeah. So basically, to conclude here, it's basically freedom to practice what you believe in. So
Yep.
I agree. So it's like, not only in rural India, even in the modern society that we talk about today, there are so many families, there are so many cultures where they are very well to do. But when it comes to women, they are very skeptical about that, that you have everything that you want. Why do you want to do it? सब कुछ है, पैसा
Yep.
है, fame है, क्यों करना है? So take care of the family and that suffice. But nobody wants to get deep dive and understand that women can also have their own career, they can have their own dreams, they can have their own wish list. So basically,
Fulfillment, it's like you feel
it's
fulfilled, you
fulfillment,
feel like
right?
you've done something, wherever you want to contribute, whether it's for an NGO, whether it's for creativity, whether it's for improving India. There's so many ways that everyone has their own way of.
Absolutely. So agree. So freedom to do whatever you wish to do is something which should be given to everyone, not only women, even children or men that we're talking about. So that is what the kind of India that we're talking about, that at least people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. Great. Thank you so much, Neera. Coming back to Sheetal, you created the Real Women Global Community, a platform for women to connect, learn, and grow together. What led you to take that initiative?
Okay. So thank you for this question, Sonal. So, as we all know, the construction industry is totally male dominated. So if we see the percentage, um, so India's population, we are 48, 49% we are women, but in construction industry, only 11% are women. And out of that, hardly 3% are in like leadership positions or entrepreneurs like this. So this percentage is very less. So all 3 decades I'm part of this industry, I have hardly come across women. So after putting so many years, I felt like doing something about it. So first I started with awards. Like I said, I have founded Real Women Awards also. So I thought there are no awards for women in construction, and only paid awards are there which are around. And I think people like us, we don't want to go for paid awards. We think awards
Not
should
needed.
be, yeah, it's not needed for us, that some we pay for the awards and show it on social media. We got this award. No. So I thought that gap is there, and I wanted to do something about it. And I said, why nobody's doing this? And somehow I came across one friend of mine. He was doing events, and I expressed this wish with him, and then together we founded this Real Woman Awards. And so this Real Woman Awards are for, the intention behind starting this awards is, motivating and recognizing existing women entrepreneurs and leaders, taking them to limelight. So this will motivate them. At the same time, we can inspire more women to join this industry. So
Absolutely.
with this thought process, we started the Real Woman Awards. So we have already awarded 156 women in 6 cities,
Wow.
and we just started in 2021. So it's 3-year-old company, and now we are going to Chennai. So and globally also the scenario is not that great. So after India, we will be going globally also with these awards. So when I coming back to your question about the community, I think awards are great, but having a supportive community is priceless. So when I started awards, that time only I wanted to have something bigger than awards. It's not awards are always one time. So
Hmm.
I thought of starting
Sort
a
of
community.
networking.
Yes. So that should be so we are so less, we are just 3%. And if we are on a same platform, it will make a lot of difference. It will be a supportive community. So thinking that last year I founded the Real Women Global Community. So this community is exclusively for women in construction and allied industries. And within a year's time, we are 91 members in 14
Wow.
cities and
Fantastic.
growing day by day. And of course, I want to take this community globally also. And there are a lot of things which we are doing through this community. Like we are having, of course, knowledge series we have. Then we are even putting for projects together. So
Okay.
we have approached some companies where our dream is, to have a complete woman-driven project at site. So even we are
Wow.
trying for that, and we are already
Has anybody
collaborating.
done it before? I don't think any complete project where the women are engaged end to end. This would
No,
be a
no,
new
it's not. There
concept
is
for
no
the
end-to-end project.
sector. Huh.
Tata has just completed one hotel in Mumbai near airport, Ginger Hotel, but that they had only at sites certain level they have achieved there, but
Mhm.
not 100% yet. So that we that's a dream project for me. So
Mhm.
we are working on that. So a lot of things through community we are doing. We are going to start mentoring also soon. So we have within our community many women who are 20 plus year experience, and there are few
Mhm.
women which have just started 4 5 year experience. So they need that mentoring opportunities and all. So that we will be providing. So I think it's a wonderful network which we have created, and we will be expanding more and more.
Absolutely commendable, Sheetal, the kind of work you guys have been doing, because within 1 year, if you managed to get around 90 odd members and connecting pan-India basis. So that's a commendable work. And I think once you guys have done some work in India market, then global is an open platform, because I think
Yeah.
globally also there is not that big a platform for
Yes.
women in real estate. So that is
True.
something which is missing from the sector perspective. And I think a lot of scope for you guys to work on there. Very good, commendable work.
Thank you.
Great. So this would be again, I would be coming back to Mukta. Given once again, given that women often manage both their businesses and households, leading to a tendency to neglect their health. What strategies can they employ to balance the demands of their professional and personal life while maintaining a healthy lifestyle? I think very important question. Most
Super,
of us
super
do that
important
कि हम
question.
घर और ऑफिस निपटाते निपटाते अपना हेल्थ भूल जाते हैं and especially women post 40 really need to take care of a lot of things because of hormonal balances, hormonal issues cropping in. So what is your thought on that?
It's a super important question. In fact, when I was hearing Nina speak of how she was like taking a baby, even both of you said this, like the taking care of your baby while getting started on your business and then managing all of that. Like I think Sheetal said, your clients accommodated the Sunday meetings. was it Nina? You were saying you were feeding your baby also when you started your baguette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't
Yes.
ask. I too had a.
Started
I
at
remember in
70
one of my
maybe.
I remember in one of my exhibitions, my child went to sleep in the car on the way reaching my store, and there was a sale, and I had to do the window and I had to put up everything. So she was sleeping. I took her from the car and I put her in the window display. And the whole store was
So
full
cute.
of, balloons and newspapers because, that's what you use for the stuffing. And in the window display, that small child is sleeping, 1 year old. So I was like,
Yeah,
क्या
but
कर
not
रही हो मैं
only
रात
that,
को
I'm pretty sure
उसको
in
लेके
taking care of your children and looking after your clients, your food and your meals would have been last priority. Like like, and I know this from a lot of women that they'll just, chase, like, do all these things, be these super moms, be
Yes,
these
superwoman.
multitasking women who will do everything, home, kids, husbands, in-laws, business, really, really well.
We still
And
do
then,
that.
yeah. And when you're starving, when you're hungry, then you're thinking of like some quick snack or like some quick food or like maybe eating, like you would have packed a dabba from home, but then you'll eat it at maybe 3:30, 4 p.m. So I know a lot of women who still do that. And it's a really important question you asked, Sonal, because like all the things we described about the woman, basically she's the one holding everything together. Like even when you think of creating something, it's the woman's body that's responsible for creating a child. So if the woman fails, the child fails. And I think this was I don't know if it was Michelle Obama or Maya Angelou who said it, like you take care of a woman and she builds a community around her, and the health of a woman is reflected in the health of the community around her.
Wow.
We don't understand this, we don't realize this. And like you said, after 40 a lot of women experience issues because hormones. I don't even think it's a problem with the 40 mark or it's the menopause issue. It's as much as damage we've done in our early years when our bodies were stronger and more resilient and they could put up with more of our assaults and abuse, that it shows up in our 40s at bus. Like now I'm going to tell you the truth of everything you've done with me. Here is fatigue, here is weight gain, here is your bloating, here is your exhaustion. So how do you then change this, right? How do you change the narrative? How do you start doing things differently? And like my own journey, even I Thrive started off from that one single very deep inner call that if I continue to do this, I'll be dead soon. Like I had to take a stand for myself, my physical,
Very
mental,
important.
emotional health. And I think it's
Earlier you realize, the better.
that
Yeah.
one small seed, that one small thought which says like, no, I have to do this for myself. Everything else can wait, because if I don't do this for myself, then there'll be no me and everything else will anyway be waiting for me. So you start with that, that unchangeable little seed of thought that if I don't take care of myself, what happens to the world that I'm creating and I'm like really focusing on nurturing and caring for, because without me, this will not exist. So start from there. How do you do this like more tangibly? Now this is very philosophical, but how do you do this more tangibly? Like one of the things I would recommend every woman does is eat a good breakfast within 1 hour of waking up. There is a huge tendency to, get started with a chai
At
or a coffee.
breakfast.
Yeah, because you'll wake up, maybe there are dabbas to be made, maybe kids have to be sent to school, and then you forget that you have to nourish yourself first. So first thing in the morning, within an hour of waking up, get some food in, especially good quality protein in. And then eat every 3.5, 4 hours, because you need good nutrition to go into your body, and keep protein as the focus, because a lot of our hormones, even our entire immune system, everything needs protein for production. So we need to make sure we're eating good protein. The few other lifestyle interventions that I can recommend to anyone who's watching this: get sun on your body and your face. Like we're scared of tanning because of all the Fair and Lovely ads, but
Vitamin D is something which everybody is struggling with.
vitamin D and sunlight kind of resets your circadian rhythm. It'll get you back into good sleep patterns. So the rest that you need in the night, that the quality of your rest and the quality of your sleep starts improving. And this is free. You don't need to like get some fancy gadget or anything. It's the sun. It's there waiting for us to go out and experience it. So within, like ideally, as soon as you wake up, if you can see the sunrise, get some sunlight on yourself in the morning, eat within an hour of waking up, and hydrate yourself. A lot of women we consult also experience issues because of chronic dehydration. the fatigue, the inflammation that's going on in their body, even like frequent UTIs that happen because they're not drinking enough water. Again, in India, for women, public toilets are like literally the worst. So a lot of women don't drink water because, and Sheetal, you being in the business of construction, I'm sure like you've experienced this firsthand.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so depending on the kind of work you do, like if you're in sales, you might be on field all day and then you don't really have access to good clean toilets, but then that leads to chronic dehydration, which then leads to a lot of inflammation and then chronic health diseases, right? So good quality protein, eating within an hour of waking up, sunlight first thing in the morning, sunlight, if you can see the sunset, the best thing you can do for your health is sunlight. And then hydration, like just drink good clean water. And like the next step would be get frequent blood work done, because if you have deficiencies, you wouldn't know it. You'll just have symptoms.
Absolutely.
So many women go through like mood swings and like, you know, the resilience to deal with challenges also sometimes they feel it's a problem of their own self that they're too weak. But a vitamin D deficiency, you mentioned that earlier, but a simple vitamin D deficiency can make you less resilient to stress. Like actual biochemistry wise, your cortisol levels and everything will start getting dysregulated. So get blood work done, see where you stand. If you need to supplement with a few basic supplements, do that so that you build your physical strength, and that will give you immense mental resilience. And then that, you know, just
All
percolates
connected.
outwards. Yeah.
All connected. Yeah. So, and lastly, workouts. So I think which all of us miss out.
Yeah, I didn't say that because what happens with a lot of women is this, you know, you say do this, do this, do this, and also work out every day. They often do not have enough time for that, and then they feel guilty. And like I've seen this like a super vicious cycle ki gym nahi ja pai, so I can eat, like forget it. I can't take care of my health, so I'm just going to eat junk food. Tomorrow I'll wake up and go to the gym early, or tomorrow I'll start my yoga class and then I'll eat better. And this vicious cycle starts. So like movement is important. Any kind of movement. It can just be like 40-50 minutes of walking.
Anything.
Anything. It can just be like you're dancing with your kids at home with music on full blast. Any movement is okay. Doesn't have to be only gym. Of course, gym is great. Like if you can do weight training, then for women, it prevents something called as age-related sarcopenia, which is a loss of a muscle. Like it happens to all. We've seen this with our grandmothers, for example. You know, they start losing muscle mass, their skin starts becoming super wrinkly, they start shrinking. So we want to prevent that, but that's stage 2. First, like just get used to the idea that you're going to take care of yourself before you take care of the world.
True. No, points well noted and very, very important. I think, self-care is more important before you get down to taking care of the family, because only if you can take care of yourself can you take care of the clan. So very critical and very important for us to understand that. Thank you so much. Neera, coming back to you on this, at present, what sort of outreach programs and support initiatives are essential to accelerate the success of women entrepreneurs? Your thoughts? I know you were bootstrapped, so but what do you think? Probably outreach programs or support initiatives which should be available to women.
I think I think the first thing that a woman practically has to do when she gets married and gets into the house, this is my experience, maybe right, maybe wrong, is that like, I remember when my husband once asked me, he's my boyfriend and it's a love marriage. So he asked me, would you leave Bagot if I would tell you to? And I said, yeah. Because where I came from was just surrender. That, okay, I mean, we love each other and that is most important to me. And my work comes second. That was the space that I was coming from. And I think in that same space, when I come to my mother-in-law, when I come from total surrender to her, that, okay, mom, and I really treat her like mom and she's wonderful, and I say that, okay, mom, however you like it, how would you like it, So when I come not out of ego, but I come out of a surrender, maybe difficult for me to explain this to my own daughter today, but somewhere when that feeling comes, because when you're moving from one family into another family, you have to gel, right? It's like even in office, when you go from one job to the other job, there is a kind of a coordination, you call it, or kind of a, reporting authority you will speak to, that can we do this? Should we do this? So I think when that feeling is there between me and my mother-in-law, and if I have that support from her, then I think 80% of my work is done, because she's there, the family is there to take care of my child when I'm not there. The family is there to take care of the dhobi wala, the maid who's ringing the bell in the morning. I don't need to wake up and do everything. I think that coordination is what support is, for my understanding, because ultimately, when you have support from your house, your family, your in-laws,
Most
that
important.
is where you feel safe to leave your child. It's not something that the government can do. It's not something that, your vendors can do, or, there's any problem in the outside world. Today, women are accepted in all businesses. We are growing and getting there, at least in the metros and where we are, So I think that let go or surrender, or, okay, kaise kare, to your mother-in-law. I know a lot of the saas bahu has become ingrained into our, thought, like
Systems.
she's
Yeah.
not really for me, or she's, is it her call or is it my call? Is she going to decide or am I going to decide? Who's my husband going to listen to? Is he going to listen to his mom, or is he going to listen to his wife? I think there's been so much, that's gone into our khopri with all the negative, stupid Hindi movies that we've seen from childhood. That she is the venomous bitch in my life, kind of a thing that's ingrained. But actually,
Jesus.
maybe I was lucky, and I know a lot of women who are really lucky,
Absolutely.
because I think all of us believe in karma, and that today when you're going to do this to someone, whether it be an employee, whether it be to some, family person, sooner or later it's going to hit you. So, and if you see them as just your mother, and coming from a different mother, like, it's like how your friends or, someone in office, they're different because they've had different experiences. They've come from a different background. They have a different way of thinking and understanding things. And if you see them as wonderful because they are different, and, you empathize, or, you support them in whatever way needed to be, as a friend or as a colleague. Same way, if you understand that my mother-in-law has also come from different experiences, and this is why she is the way she is. She's not exactly like what my mom is. And I think most of us women don't even get along with our moms. We fight the most with our moms, right? Because it's the next
True. Very
generation, we
patience.
think differently. And then you're also like, Mom, you're old-fashioned. No one thinks like that now, Mom. Don't tell me what to do. So अभी मम्मी का नहीं सुनेंगे तो सासू का तो but I think that and I don't know if you could take a vote or something, if women really have cracked that code or decoded that, you won a lot of stuff. You're really free to party. You have time to go to the gym. You have time to wake up late, not look at the basic things, because they are home. If you're living in a family where they are there,
Absolutely.
that's,
No,
I think the
perfectly.
families, even I am. But I have
agree
the
to this.
support.
I think your network is little low, Nina. So, no, I perfectly sync in with that. Personally also speaking, I've been able to, it's like I've been married for what, 20 years now. And personally speaking, I have been able to work just because, I have a supportive in-laws with me. Otherwise, it was very difficult for me to even think about. And trust me, I'm like, one psych one where, I can't leave children to a daycare. So I don't say, there's anything wrong in that. But personally, for me, it is very important. Even, my son is 18, my daughter is 13 now. But it's important for me that I have a support system at home before I walk out of the house. So for me personally speaking, my in-laws have been a real blessing for me to take up my professional career. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So a lot of credit for whatever I've been doing today goes to them. And I always go back and tell them that, a lot of credit for whatever I've been doing literally goes to them for taking care of kids when I'm not at home. So
And I
really,
think, a lot of women don't don't focus on that, and they try to keep finding a crash or somewhere else, that can
That's
be
the personal choice.
managed.
Yeah.
But I think if they crack this code, and it's difficult, but if you work on your inner self, on your meditation, or you call it introspection, taking out time to reflect, to think how I reacted with my colleague, how I reacted with my maid, how I reacted with my husband or my in-laws. And if you can change your behavior, because a lot of time when we come from anger, we come from fear within. So
Absolutely.
if you can
Agree.
understand that through whatever inner growth methods you can work on, then you'll be able to see where that person is coming from and where I'm coming from. And if that can be, and you need that today when you're building a team, when you're, hiring, skill sets of people who are experienced, 10 years, 20 years, they're also going to have their egos. They're also you're going to have to manage people, because to run an organization after a particular point is not to do the work at all. It's to just manage people. And, to manage your emotions, to manage your mind, to create what you want, to overcome the fears that you have. Ki agla banda chhod ke gaya, to main kaise karungi? Do I know how to do this? All of that is just your mind over here creating, making your your fears come bigger. Or your
I
dreams
can
become
only
bigger.
think about a small quote here, which I often keep reading, that you are a star of your movie and you have all the right to kick out people who don't fit into the frame. But just remember that you are a star of only your movie, so don't try doing it with others. If you don't like somebody getting into your life or pitching in things there, so similarly, it applies to you that you are the star only of your movie, so don't try to be a star in the other movies as well. So if you can understand and sink in with that, I think a lot of things get sorted out, be it with family or be it with friends. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so I
Thank
think
you so
what
much.
we can do is teach this to our daughters, because our daughters think that, main to 30 maar khan hu. I can, so I think that
Gen
culture,
Z, Sheetal will
yes,
agree. Gen Z does
Yeah,
not.
totally agree.
Gen Z does not want to listen to anything. They are the star of the world. So that's what they think.
but the only way kids listen is they imbibe and they watch you. They're all the time seeing how is she doing things, and that is what they do. Whether they like it or
Absolutely
not, they
agree.
are being
Absolutely agree.
True.
cultured.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
conditioned.
I think very,
So I
very
think,
important perspective that you've covered on. I think family is the biggest support system that you can look at whenever you are wanting to start your journey, be it professional, be it an entrepreneur. So I think biggest support system you require is a family to work on there. Great. Thank you so much. So my last question here would go to Sheetal. What are some common mistakes that women entrepreneurs make in their entrepreneurial journeys, and how can these be effectively avoided?
Okay, I think reflecting on my own journey, because I started 22 years back, and and that time we were having limited resources. Like I started my journey when construction field, we were on drawing boards, and now then we saw the journey going to the softwares like AutoCAD. Now we are on in era of 3D and AI. So I witnessed all this journey. I think common mistakes, what even I have done is, not investing on marketing. I think we feel,
ये
okay,
extra
why to
खर्चा
go
है.
and market ourselves, So, especially in services business. So, literally for many years, I was just taking out printouts of my profiles and going around for my marketing. But I think that was my biggest mistake. Second, I think we are not understanding our strengths and weaknesses. We have to do SWOT analysis for ourselves also and understand what weaknesses we have. We have to work on that. At the same time, if we need external support, we have to go for external support, which we are not taking. So I think this is the second thing I feel. This is the common mistake what entrepreneurs have. Then I think we are not taking enough risk. because we are not believing in ourselves. We feel, okay, we always, at the rating between 1 to 10, women always consider themselves, okay, 6 or 7, they will not consider more than 8. They will
9.
feel, oh no, we are always below average, So we have to believe in ourselves and, start taking risk in the business. Then only we can have the more growth rate. And I think my favorite quote is, if you can dream it, you can do it. So you
Absolutely.
have to,
Nailed
believe
it.
in yourself and just keep on doing good work, and you are bound to get the success. And one more thing I feel is, people are not consistent. If you are consistent in any field and keep on doing good work, you are bound to get success. So I think this, according to me, these are the common mistakes what women entrepreneurs make, and I think they quit very
But
early. Yeah.
true. No, absolutely. I think, very well nailed, Sheetal, each point, consistency, patience, and trust on yourself is very important for anybody to be successful. क्योंकि अभी लोगों में ना पेशेंस रह नहीं गई है. वो बोलते हैं ठीक है भाई 2 साल चला लिया, नहीं चला कोई बात नहीं. Patience is required in case you want to be successful. I feel, personally, for any business to set up, I'm not talking about, growth. So even for a setup, it requires at least 3-4 years of consistent effort. तो 3-4 साल के बाद तो कुछ सेटअप होना शुरू होता है, उसके बाद कुछ ग्रोथ का पर्सपेक्टिव शुरू होता है उसके अंदर. So I think a wonderful session. Thank you so much, everyone. Do we have any questions here, Ayush, coming in from any of the delegates? Any
Ma'am,
questions?
we do share that on your group, ma'am. We have some feedbacks coming in, and we'll share the same, the recording as well, and the questions and the feedback as well on the group.
Okay, any specific questions which anybody wants to ask to any of the speakers, please feel free to speak to them now, or you can reach out to them through their personal LinkedIn also. So thank you so much to 3 of you for taking our time for such a great session. I really enjoyed moderating it, and I'm sure, the audience would have loved listening to your stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Thank you,
much.
Sonal.
Thanks,
Sonal.
Sonal.
It
Yeah.
was really lovely,
Sure.
amazing questions, and I got to hear some really incredible viewpoints from both Sheetal and Neena. So, thank you for this.
Same here. Very interesting.
Same year. Same year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ayush. Thanks to
Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mugdha, ma'am. Thank you, Nina, ma'am. Thank you, Sheetal, ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sonal, ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mugdha and Shital. Bye.
Bye.